Welcome back to Horn Dogs.
Mine wasn't a dog at the end.
Yeah, it still was, my man. It was a B word. I'm Steve Hernandez. With me, per usual, Jonathan Serter Ryle. How are you, Jenny?
I'm good. Do we need to do a theme song?
We're gonna need a theme song just because for the interludes. But I like podcasts when they just start off. Hey, write in. Tell us what you think.
I want a dog-themed theme song.
I don't like dogs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? You know what? I don't love dogs that much. I like them, and I've had dog pets, and they've lived a long, glorious, luxurious life.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about us: we're Mexican, and what people don't understand about Mexicans is they fuck with dogs, but they don't make dogs like part of the family like white people do.
Yes, I mean my dad was awful to dogs.
Oh, what'd he do?
No, I mean he didn't kick them or anything.
Yeah.
But pets. So I think cats too, but that doesn't even make sense. That couldn't be true. But at least
yes, it could be.
Yeah. But at least a couple dogs. Mexicans know, man. I don't know if everyone calls it the same, but my dad would say like you got to take that dog for a walk.
Yeah.
And it was like ominous.
Yeah.
And he would make us kids do it.
Yeah.
He would make you like just go walk far with the dog, and then just leave the dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were never that cruel, but we would never, ever let our dogs sleep inside the house or sleep in our bed or kiss them on the lips or anything that white people do. Yeah. And, I look white so people think that I'm just making out with my dog. And it's like, no, you're sleeping outside, buddy. That's what's happening. Some Mexicans are even more brutal. They just, you've been to like places like La Puente where you'll walk by houses and the dogs are living in like dirt piles filled with their own shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it just reeks of dog shit. That's the Mexican way.
Oh, yeah, where they just don't, or they'll just like throw some water and food outside and then they're just wandering around.
It's because I think they're from the country, and in the country in Mexico, that's fine because the dogs can like hunt rabbits and stuff, but it's like you can't in the city.
Yeah, I'm no expert about the Mexican countryside.
I think that's what it is. But my dad was evil with cats. When he was living up in the Bay Area in junior high, he used to ride into San Francisco and pick up stray cats and put them in a potato sack and ride to the Golden Gate Bridge and throw them over. And he said he would hear them go as they fell over. Isn't that sociopathic?
Jonathan, no, that's psychopath.
Yeah.
That's what they say serial killers do.
Yeah, I know.
Your dad really told you he used to do that?
He used to do that, yeah. And I will bring it up to him to this day and he'll go, yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. Think about how much work it is to capture stray cats.
I know.
So he was just this joy.
But he was a very lean, thin, small kid, so he was a cat like himself.
No. I'm just saying though. That's like that's what they say serial killers really do.
You know what it is? The baby boomer generation, I think, was really affected by lead. There was lead in everything, and lead makes people crazy. The Roman Empire, that's why they were so brutal, because lead. It makes you like bloodthirsty and crazy and mentally ill.
Julia, remind me, we really should put a warning on the first segment of this episode. Because if you are a pet lover listening to this, even getting my dad forcing us to drop the dog off. I didn't know Jonathan's dad was straight up killing cats, murking cats off the Golden Gate like that.
But I'm not. Animals love me. Yeah. They love me, but they don't want to go. You know what? My dad is actually now good to cats. He has his own cats.
Oh, don't try to go back on it now.
No, he does.
Yeah.
But every time I see him petting his cat.
Have you asked him what drove him to do that?
He just kind of, when I ask him these questions, he gets this blank like glaze over his eyes, and he just kind of goes, I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. And you realize you've reached into a point within him that you don't want to reach further. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about it too much. But there has been some instant things come up recently with my dad in the past.
Yes.
And him and my sister got into it recently. And he has just not perceived things correctly. I'm sure your dad's the same way.
Like what?
Right?
What are you talking about?
Just stuff about he just doesn't think that he was like that bad of a guy.
Oh,
like, I love my dad. My dad's a great guy. We have a great relationship. It's his birthday today. We're gonna go take him out. I love watching the movies. He talks a lot. He's very funny and stuff. But I think when he was just had such an awful childhood, I'm sure like your dad may have. I don't know. If yeah. Or they're just like really abused. Raised by psychopaths. But yeah, my dad was, not the greatest dad growing up because he drank too much and he was just furious. They're just filled with this anger. They don't have any therapy. They don't understand the shame or anything they feel.
Right.
So, they just got into a thing and my dad's fine now, but he did not used to be. He was just a furious person growing up. And my sister and him got into something where he's like, oh, no, that didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, my God. And my sister's like sad or mad and I'm like, dude, he's almost dead. Let it go. Like, what are we going to do? What good is it dragging this stuff up?
Well, you know what? It makes me feel good. That's why I drag it up because
you confront your dad about things?
Oh, yes.
When was last time? I know
maybe 2 months ago. I haven't spoke to him in a few months. Okay. Do you remember that scene in Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey where he goes off on live news and he freaks out and he's like, fuck you, it's eroded. Like that's what the fight was.
Did you cry?
No, but I was that angry.
Okay.
I reverted back to being a teenager.
How did it start?
Well, he was lying as he usually does. No, this is what he does. Yeah. Exactly what your dad does.
Yeah.
He will say,
yeah,
things did not happen that everyone in our family, including my mom, knows happened. Yeah. And he will look us straight in the eye and he'll say, that didn't happen. You're exaggerating. That didn't happen. He's fully lying.
Yeah.
Or he's so old that he doesn't remember. But I actually think it's a mix of the two. Yeah. That they lie, then their memory gets shot, and then those lies get cemented into what they want to believe.
Oh, yeah. With my dad, too, I think it's like, if they knew how awful they were, like they can't live with themselves. You know what I mean? So the human brain just coats it over. Yeah. I'm sure, we've all probably done things in ways that, thank God for our brains.
For sure. I mean, he thinks it wasn't that bad, but it got so bad that my mom had to separate from him and he had to live out of the house for a year because that's how abusive it got. Yeah. And it was like, so you think it wasn't that bad, and your wife said, our marriage is at stake here. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it just wasn't that bad.
So that's what would happen. And you were yelling at him.
He basically, we were something from the past got brought up. Yeah. And he just basically denied it. Yeah. Among other things. Yes. He also does this thing where if my mom likes to, she gets emotional at anything. It could be anything. It could be like the flooding in New York. Yeah. She's never been to New York. And she'll literally be like, those poor people in the apartments. And they're just everything is so ruined probably. That's what she's like. So my dad doesn't like it when I say stuff or bring stuff up that makes her cry. Yes. And then my mom was telling him, but I cry at everything. She was like, it's fine with me. And so he's offended on her behalf. Yeah. And she's telling him, I'm fine. I cry at everything. Yeah. And then he turns to her and says, shut up. Because he's like, you're really upsetting your mom. Do you see she's crying? And she's like, I'm not upset. And then she's like, shut up. And he's like, wacko.
How old is he?
He's 78.
And he's 10 years older than your mom or something like that?
14 years older than my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you and your dad are fighting, what's your mom being like?
Oh, she's feisty. She's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's not oh no, don't
Oh,
fight.
no. My mom was the mom who would step in and grab the bat and risk everything.
So this last fight,
my mom will fuck
when
you
you
up.
were yelling at your dad, is she on your side?
Yes, because it was a conversation between me and her. Oh, okay. And my dad walks in and she's crying, but we're talking about. But it's I'm not making her cry. She just cries at everything. We could literally be talking about Syria, and she would start crying because she saw like kids on the. He's like, stop bringing up negative things, and it's like, come on, dude, Yeah. But he's controlling like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's why I don't like dogs.
Well, your dad and I are the same. Are the same generation.
What are you talking? What?
Our dads are the same generation.
I don't know what a generation exactly.
How old is your dad?
My dad's 69 today.
Okay, so your dad's on the younger side of the boomer generation. Yeah. My dad's on the older side.
Yeah.
So your dad, my dad was old enough.
He went to Vietnam.
No. He didn't go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
He served in the Marine Corps during Vietnam. He never said he went to Vietnam. He was one of the first kids, like right at the beginning of the war. He didn't even wait to get drafted. He joined at 19 because he said, I want to be a man. He had no idea about the politics.
Yeah.
And they were selling everyone on, you have to go save the Vietnamese. Like, they want the Americans there. So he joined. He went through everything, like boot camp, advanced infantry training. But right before he was going to ship out, he has one last physical because he got injured. You know when they made those, like, fake Vietnamese villages on the military?
No, but go on.
At Camp Pendleton, they would make fake Vietnamese villages and jungles so that they could simulate the war for the guys.
Okay.
Right? So he got hurt, and it was because of his feet. His feet are so deformed from a little boy. He's always had very deformed feet. They're like something... Guys, they're like something Guillermo del Toro thought up.
What do they look like?
They look like gnarled, like monstrous.
Like the worst feet you've ever seen.
They're the worst feet you've ever seen, and he'll show them to you.
Yeah.
If he takes off his sock, you will actually be like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like all the kids in our family when my dad walks around shoeless, without socks, they just stare at his feet because they're kids and they've never seen anything like it. But he was able to like run and walk and everything. It's just that they thought he was going to be a liability because all these other guys were coming back with like foot infections and foot injuries because they were in the swamps.
Yeah.
So they were like, he's going to slow down his platoon. So he stayed back. His platoon went. He feels guilty because he didn't wait to get drafted.
Yeah.
He joined.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, other guys who got drafted were slitting their wrists, not wanting to go.
Yeah.
So he stays back and he works on tanks at the base. So that's what he did during the wars. He worked on tanks.
Yeah.
And to this day, he still feels guilty about that shit. And probably everyone he was in the platoon with died.
My dad went to Korea. Like, he missed the Vietnam War for like a couple years, but he was stationed in Korea.
Yeah.
This is the funniest thing. One of the funniest things ever about my dad.
Yeah.
And where he's just like a storyteller and like he like... I think he, whatever kind of self-grandizing that I do, although I think it's funny, and I think my dad might think it's funny about himself too, but I do really think he believes a lot of the crazy things about him. But when I was little, my dad would tell us, oh man, I went to this military school where, 80% of people would drop out. And I like won this thing, and he's like, yeah, it was incredible. I won this thing. I was at this military school, or this military camp, and they did this. And I remember that being little, I remember thinking like, oh yeah, my dad's like some kind of like military war hero or something. As years go by, like it starts to like, I just start to get the real truth about this actual thing. And what happened was that my dad actually went AWOL at one time from partying too hard.
At this school? At this military school?
It wasn't a school. It was a jail. It was military jail.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So he went to my Uncle Mario used to live in, I think they were stationed in like one of the Carolinas.
Okay.
And then my Uncle Mario was stationed like maybe like 5 hours away somewhere. So my dad went to go party with my Uncle Mario. And he had just partied so hard at different times that it was like, if you do this one more time, we're going to consider you AWOL. And so he went back and he was AWOL.
Hell
so
yeah.
they put him in this military jail. And it was kind of like you redo boot camp again.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And if you can get out of this thing, then they'll give you an honorable discharge. But if not, then you get a dishonorable discharge.
Whoa.
But my dad was able to like get out of it to surpass it. But it was just because he was a fucking loser.
So he got an honorable, not a dishonorable.
Yes, yeah.
Fuck, he just skated by.
Yes, but it was because he was partying too hard.
But you know what? That's what guys at that age should be doing. They shouldn't be getting their balls blown off across the world for like people who don't fucking want them there.
I do wonder, my dad, because, when I think of him drinking, obviously I was a kid and he was like a monster. But I wonder if he was like popular with people or if he is funny. There's a difference when someone's like funny on purpose or if they're like funny and they don't know they're being funny, and it's like that takes away from it somehow. You know what I mean? It seems like he would be a popular guy, but I don't know how furious he was when he partied that hard. But he's a lot like my brother Danny, and Danny, people like him when he parties. So,
did your dad have a lot of friends? Do you know if he did that?
No, but
not?
They're not of that generation either, though. Your dad doesn't have any friends, right?
No, he was always a fucking loner.
Yeah,
a loner, and he said he was always happy being alone, which also it makes me worried. Like, he killed cats. He loves being alone.
Yeah. Who knows who else he's killed?
I know. Who is he? Yeah. He did say that when he was, but take this with a grain of salt, because he was 24 and we know a lot of creeps who are 24.
Yeah.
He said he used to a girl rejected him. So he would
this is not going to be good.
It's not going to be good. Look, I am not him. Okay.
Yeah, I know. We're not making excuses for our dads.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He basically stalked her. He basically just followed her in her car to see what guys she was bringing home back to her apartment, just so he could know, even though she was already broke it off. And he said it very regretfully. He was like, that was dumb, I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, oh, I think back to oh shit, if I went back in time and I met my dad when he was 24, I don't think I would like him. I think I would think he was not a good guy.
Yes.
And then this is the guy who's gonna make you. Isn't that fucking crazy?
It is crazy. I think that one thing I do like about my dad is he is very principled, in a man way.
Yeah.
He'll keep his word, those kind of people who are your word is your bond, and he works hard. He's always been a hard worker, provider. So I think I got a lot of that stuff from my dad. And there is still kind of an old school, I think with men, at the bar when I'm bartending, I think there are fewer and fewer of those kind of guys.
Yes.
Where you can count on them to do the right thing or to my dad's always been pretty good about apologizing, so I shouldn't say that, but a lot of men are not.
Oh, my dad's not.
Yeah. I mean, has he ever apologized to you?
He has, but it takes a long time. This is what it takes. It takes me withholding my contact from him completely.
Yeah.
Without it, he still uses all of these other tactics, these manipulation tactics, all this shit. You have to I learned this a long time ago. You have to completely cut him off, and then he will see reason more. Because then he sees that you're serious about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy is they don't even probably know they're doing all these tactics. This is what they've developed to survive.
I guess, but I don't want to give them the out that way.
Oh no, you're doing you know how to work him. That's good.
Yeah, because I mean you have
There's no out. We're just explaining things.
Yeah.
I do think that people are still accountable to be a good person. It's here's a very controversial thing. Oh my God, I shouldn't even say this. Whatever. But a comic that we know was talking shit about online on Twitter and stuff. People always talk about autistic people, or they're always trying to give them a way out.
Yeah.
And it's the autism. That's the explanation why they are being rude.
Yeah.
But they still got to work on it.
Yeah.
So that they're not that way, or if they realize they're being that way, they apologize. I know a lot of people, and a lot of this is online, because I know a few autistic people in real life, and they're nice people. So I don't want to say this, but they get very defensive online, or if anyone's upset about anyone acting rude, you'll always see them say have you thought about their mental whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, no, but it's we all have mental shit.
Yeah.
Even if you're not autistic, you could have another disorder.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We all have shit, you know? That being said, I do have to say about my dad, always there.
Yeah.
To a fault.
Yes.
And gave me a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Had a full American middle class upbringing, the summer camp, the swim camp, the theater. I mean, I had a lot of shit. But at my this is what he was like. At my soccer games, the other dads and the coach surrounded him once after one of the game and said, "You have to stop yelling at your son, or you will not be allowed back, and we will make sure that you will not be allowed to step back on the field."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
so he was just yelling at you.
Yes,
Remember this?
Yes.
Just his little gay son just yelling at him?
He was just get the ball! It was what the fuck?
You really remember this?
Yes, of course.
How old were you?
I played 10 and 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's old enough, yeah.
Yes, but I think it really hurt his pride because I was on, it was an AYSO league.
Yeah.
And for 2 years in a row, I was on the bottom 2 teams of the league. I was on, the first year, the second to worst, the next year, the worst team. Yeah.
All right, two things. I want to talk about all the shit my dad gave me, but also, this is the funniest thing I think I've ever done, blacked out, and I don't remember it, but I've been told this. We have an autistic friend named Ryan Reyes, who's a very funny comic. And this one time after Chatterbox, I guess a couple of like comics were like talking in a circle, including Ryan and me. And where I started to say something, and right when I started to talk, Ryan whipped out a Rubik's cube and started doing it. And I said, "We get it, Ryan. You're autistic." And I grabbed this Rubik's cube and threw it over the wall.
Because you're a bully, but you're lovable.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone thought it was the funniest thing in the world. When I heard about it the next day, because I was blacked out, I was like so sad. I gave him $20. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, Ryan. I feel so bad." And he's like, "Nah, man, it was hilarious." So it was cool. If he didn't think it was hilarious, then I wouldn't be telling that story right now.
You are ridiculous. Do you remember the most infamous blackout time with me and you?
This is funny too. Yes.
So me, Steve, and Julia were having pizza together at Garage Pizza in Silver Lake. And
what's that bar right there that we were at?
The Jay's Bar.
We were at Jay's Bar. So me and Julia are like drunk, wasted. But at some point, I black out. So we're eating pizza right there at Garage Pizza. Go on.
But as you know, I don't know when you are blacked out.
Yeah.
I think you are just... So, first of all, Julia's having a crazy conversation with me. She tells me to stop being friends with, like, a friend of ours because she's a white woman. And Julia's like, I'm a white woman, and she's a white woman, and there's a reckoning coming for us. And you need to save yourself because we're going to drag you down. And I don't want that for you. You know, like, it was ridiculous drunk talk. And I'm, like, sitting there like, yeah.
And you're sober?
I'm a little buzzed, but I've only had like 2 beers.
Yeah.
I'm like basically sober.
You met us there or something,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were like way farther along. So then I was like, guys, I'm going to drive your car home because we lived walking distance at the time. Okay. I was able to walk from your apartment to mine.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to drive them home in their car, park their car in their garage, and then walk back to my apartment. Yeah. So then Julia and you agreed. And something happened with you from you agreeing in the pizza shop to literally a few yards away. We walked out to the street to your car. Julia gives me the keys. I go around to open your car door. And then you look at me and you say to Julia, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you just give this random guy our keys? We don't know this guy. Just some random white dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then Julia starts to cry and she's like, "That's our friend. That's our friend, Jonathan. And he's driving us home and he's doing us a favor." And you're like, "I don't know this guy. He could just steal our car right now. Give us our keys. Give us our keys." And I was like, "I'm going to drive you home." And you're like, "Give us our keys." So I threw the keys at you. And then you got in and Julia was like, "Great. Now you just sent our friend away." And I like walked home and I literally thought, they're going to die tonight. But then the next morning I got this huge text from you saying like, "I'm so sorry." Because Julia had, I guess, told you like you did not remember who Jonathan was.
Damn, man, that is crazy.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we're back. And we're horn dogs. Oh. I don't want to sell my dad out, so I do want to say my dad was very much the same way with money. My dad has never even mentioned that we can't afford that. He's never said anything like that. He's not a cheap guy at all. I remember 2 specific times, and if you're a parent out there, remember, you just need 2 or 3 of these big things, and your kid will remember you for in a good way forever. But one time I was squinting. I had lost my glasses, or I didn't really have glasses. But my dad saw me squinting at a football game. He said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh," he's like, "You're getting glasses tomorrow." And he did that. That's 1. And 2, when I needed football cleats, he's like, "We're going right now. We're getting you the best ones. Pick whatever ones you want." They were like $100 cleats when I was, 20 or 30 years ago, which was like probably $200 or $300 now.
Yeah.
So my dad always did stuff like that with money. He was always cash. What'd your dad do for work?
Well, he's
old enough where he might have been retired by the time you were.
No. He was, well, he did a lot of shit, but then he became a lawyer when he was in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
And then he was a lawyer with his own practice. Like, it was a small office for the first few years of my life, and then he quit that.
That's odd, right?
No, because he said that it was taking up a lot of his time, and he wasn't able to like spend time with me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He was there, you know?
Yeah.
So then he like was unemployed for a few years and did like volunteer shit, and then he became like a workers' compensation claims examiner for the city of Pasadena. So if you get hurt on the job, you go to him.
Yeah.
And so his law degree came in handy. So that's what he did. He worked in workers' comp for almost my entire upbringing, and then he retired in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you think my dad is working for like the Armenian mob or something.
I don't know what's going on with him now. That's cleared up. I do. Anytime anyone becomes a lawyer and quits, I'm highly suspect.
Well, he was a lawyer from the 70s.
Have you ever met comedians that are lawyers and quit? I know like 2 or 3 of them right now.
Hey, Geraldo, one of the best comedians, was a lawyer.
Yeah, Greg Geraldo, yeah.
And he went to like top-notch places. Not like my dad,
Yeah.
But, my dad was like a lawyer from like the late 70s to the early 90s. He had a good run.
All right. My dad was a printer when that meant something in this country. So he made pretty good money. He probably made 80 grand or 100 grand when that was like a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like double for a guy with just a high school diploma. But he would work all the time, 30, 40 days in a row, 12-hour shifts, like always on his feet, that kind of thing. Always they were so terrible with money, man.
Yeah.
Bad with money. My dad would like always have to cash his check, get at a check cashing place.
Oh, fuck.
That's how bad they were with money. My mom, I remember being little and my mom would be like driving around and she'd be like, yeah, we're blackballed from that bank.
Oh, so my God.
I don't know how much of it is my dad, because now that I know him, he kind of goes through it fast, but he doesn't. I think my mom was just like writing a shitload of bad checks.
Holy shit.
To be blackballed.
I didn't even know that could happen.
Oh, yeah.
Blackballed from and my mom was a bank teller for many years.
Well, see, your parents had it more together than
oh, yeah.
Yeah, mine did not have it together and continue to not have it together that much, but they're doing pretty good considering. Yeah. We're not at the place where we have to worry about, like, what are we going to do? My dad has his own mobile home that he owns outright. That's nice. And then my mom's working at Kaiser. Just a couple more years until she retires. Then we'll see what happens.
Is she going to become like, when the baby comes and you and Julia, is she going to become like the mom from George Lopez show? Coming in and busting through the door?
We will see. My mom talks a big game about wanting to be close to her kids. I think it's her greatest desire, but I don't think she knows how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok, right? I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah. She's almost dead, right?
Yeah. You're almost dead.
Yeah. She's almost dead, yeah. But she'll say, like, oh, I just want to be close to my kids. And it's like, just give us a call or whatever. But, she tries. It's nothing like that. I want her to be. Some people are precious with their babies. Some people are like my sister was very tight with her kids. I don't care. My kid is hanging out with all my friends. I'm going to leave my kid with my mom, like all that kind of shit.
Right.
I don't care, I'm going to keep my eye out for molesters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be that careless. I do know as a parent, my number one job is to not let my kid get molested. If you let your kid get molested, you have failed as a parent.
Then don't bring them around the LA comedy scene.
Nobody.
It's just filled with molesters.
Okay, this is a serious question. Who do you think would molest kids amongst our friends? I'm just kidding.
I would say the biggest culprit, Lisa motherfucking Chanu.
Lisa, yeah, she looks hungry
She's
around
hungry
the baby's
for the
side,
kitties.
licking her lips.
I could think of no one less interested in kids than Lisa.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna be handing them off to everybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
I'm pretty in terms of how much I weigh. I'm pretty much at. I don't want to say my fattest because I weigh probably about 290 right now.
Okay.
And I look.
That's not your fattest, right? You were in the
my
300s.
fattest 300.
Yeah.
In like pandemic.
Okay.
But that's like I'm eating breakfast cereal. We're eating macaroni and cheese. Like that is as big as I've gotten. I think is like 302.
How tall are you?
5'9".
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. None of this. I mean, I'm just talking about appearance-wise. If you look at BMI and stuff like that, yes, I'm due to die at any minute. I just carry my weight well.
That's exactly what it says. You type in your stats and it just says due to die.
See you next month, fatty.
Yeah.
See you next month, fatty. No, but I feel like pretty good. And this is still going to sound outrageous to people, but if I'm like 275, I'm usually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Working out good, eating a lot. I know I would love to like be drastically, but I think it would take such a drastic life change that where I'm like constantly working out, and maybe I'll get there, who knows. But 275 for me is like my blood pressure's all right, everything's fine. But I did start. I know you yo-yo all. So can you tell when I'm like fat right now, and then when I'm doing good, you looking at me?
No.
It always looks the same, right?
I've been able to tell when you're. Yeah, no, it basically looks the same.
How about Julia? What about you? I fuck you, and so can you tell when you're like? You could obviously tell.
Yeah, I feel like it's less during sex and more like clothes.
Okay, you guys can't hear, but she said it's not sex, because there she's just taking it all in. But
all the fat.
It is clothes. Like I can't dress the way I probably want to dress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to go to like a few. You're like, oh, he's wearing these outfits.
You should just be like me and be like a yo-yo. Just become anorexic for a year and then get really skinny and then like gain weight again and become a sumo wrestler.
This seems, whatever weight you're at right now, whatever you're doing with your body, this seems like a nice normal medium, right?
I want to be a bit fitter, but I've actually put on a good amount of muscle and stuff, and without my clothes, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm pretty happy with it, but I want to be fitter.
What's the thinnest, most anorexic you've been? How much did you weigh?
155, and I'm 6 feet.
Yeah.
That is very.
And you were sucked up.
I was. There was a picture you took of me at like some sandwich shop, and I looked like an AIDS patient.
Yeah, he wasn't even thinking about a sandwich at that point. For us.
Yeah, no, because I would be running around doing spots, and I had a tiny little studio apartment on Fountain.
So you needed to lose that weight. It was a very small apartment.
It was, yes. I said, how am I gonna fit in here? No, but this is how anorexic I was all day, like for most of my 20s.
Yeah.
I would have a box of cherry tomatoes, a clove of garlic, some white wine. It's the gayest. Some Parmesan.
Some Liza Minnelli in the background.
Some Judy in the background. You know. Yeah, and then some Parmesan, and then a glass of water. And that was all I would have all day. A bowl of tomatoes with cheese on it.
But there's like no nutrition in there either. You wouldn't even have greens?
Vitamin C.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. And I was also delivering food, so I was biking up those hills and delivering people's food.
Yeah, you used to do weird shit. I guess you're just a weird guy.
Yeah, I'm just a fucking weirdo.
But yeah, whenever you would like live at your folks living at Eagle Rock, sometimes you would have to go back and move in with them. I remember you would walk home from like Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it would take like 2.5 hours.
I still do
4 hours.
But I do it for exercise now.
Sure. I mean, how long do you walk?
So like to get from Glendale here to your place in Hollywood takes 3 hours. It's about 8 miles.
Yeah.
That's a great way to drop weight. I mean, you cannot keep weight on.
Yeah.
You could even pound a burger. Yeah. You will lose weight.
How long did it take?
3 hours to walk.
Did you do that yesterday?
No. Okay. No, not yesterday. But I've done it before.
Just regular walking.
Yeah, and I do it all the time. Yeah. I mean, one of the best walks is the like Gold Line station down to Chatterbox where Steve works.
Yeah.
The bar. Yeah, that's a great walk. See, I yo-yo. I'm like the Janet Jackson of the LA comedy scene.
Yeah, people say that.
When I'm not on tour, I'm thicker. When I'm on
always
tour,
like
I'm
ripping
lean.
off your shirt, exposing your nipple.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always like,
oh
God.
Oh.
And then people are always hard on me.
People get mad at you.
Yes.
But nobody's ever said, why does Steve keep showing John's nipple?
Yeah. And they think it's weird that I have like pasty, like a nipple ring. They think it's so weird. No, my nipples could not hold a ring because I have small nipples, but they're also innies. They go in.
Let me see.
I'm not going to do it.
Why not?
No, because I'm too body conscious.
Okay, all right. What's the thinnest you weighed and what's the fattest you ever got? You said 150?
150.
Yeah.
And then or I think I said 155, around there. And then the fattest was 240.
What did it feel like carrying around all that weight? Did you feel unhealthy?
Yeah, a little bit unhealthy, but I still lifted and I still walked and stuff, but I just felt slower and like just more like a fat piece of.
Did you feel stronger though?
I did feel stronger, yeah. But I just felt like a giant fat dude. Even though like I wasn't that fat and I carried it well.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I don't know what it like. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a lot of people that.
Without clothes, it was pretty awful. It was the worst I've ever looked. Is 240.
But you wanted to be that big.
It wasn't that I wanted to be that big. I think I just during the pandemic gave the fuck up and was like, I'm gonna get.
I remember you were talking about eating on purpose, like a lot.
I was trying to bulk because I had this fantasy that I was gonna be like a strong man.
Yeah.
And you know how they're like muscle fat.
Yeah.
But then I realized.
Then you forgot to work out.
No. Yeah, I just fell asleep with donuts on the couch. No, first of all, those guys are on a lot of steroids.
Yes.
And they are lifting. I mean, I have a home gym and shit. They are lifting like 800 pounds several times a week.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get that type of like elephant beast body.
Yeah.
If you're just squatting like 220, no. You're you're just going to get fat.
Yeah.
You know? So I had to stop that shit. But then I got into boxing, remember?
Yeah.
Steve hated when I was into boxing because I wouldn't shut up about it. But it dropped. I mean, I look like a model.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing. So I need to get back to that, you know?
Yeah, I wish there was a good boxing gym to go to.
The Echo Park Boxing and Muay Thai. This lesbian used to beat me up.
I've heard some. I don't want to talk shit about it, but I just heard that's like it's good for working out, but it's not that good for boxing.
Well, it's more of a Muay Thai gym.
Yeah.
It's more of a Muay Thai gym. But the boxing there, it's meant to like help the Muay Thai.
Yes.
Because you want to have speedy hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the workout is good. Yeah.
What's your sex life like with in these different weight categories?
To be honest, I hate to be a total bitch.
Yeah.
People always want to fuck me.
Yeah.
I feel like I can fit all these weird gay guys' fantasies.
Yeah.
When I was my fattest,
yeah.
I was getting hit up by model twinks, like the leanest guys who look like they could be in fashion, you know? Because they were like into like fat dudes.
Yeah.
And so they saw me and they were like, oh my God, like some prime beef, right?
Yeah.
And then when I got really thin, I got a lot of like hunky, like rich gay daddies from the hills.
Yeah.
And they wanted a twink and they wanted to like relive their youth and everything because everyone that they knew died of AIDS. So it's true. I meet a lot of older gay men who say they like younger friends and they like younger men because they got like stunted when everyone died back then.
Damn, I know. They say all the cool ones died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, all the attractive ones, because you have to be attractive to get AIDS.
To be having sex.
Because people need to want to come inside you.
Yeah.
So if you don't got HIV, guess you're a no-go.
So, you know what's so funny is I talk about this too. I wish I was more gay because I do know that far more gay men find me attractive than I think. Well, than I think women find me attractive. But I don't know. I think are women, when we're talking about what they find attractive, I truly do, generally, of course, I truly do think they have all these other things factored in that don't have anything to do with looks, right?
Steve, we don't talk about women on this podcast. That's not appropriate. Okay.
But it's not like, so a guy's just looking at me and they go, oh, I want that hunk of beef.
Yes.
I want to fuck that fat hole, that kind of stuff like that. But I guess women, when they're talking about what they find attractive, I truly do think they're talking about like being a provider and like all this other shit that they have to do with attraction, don't you?
I think that women are less visual, but I also think women like attractive guys. Like but I think
of course, but I mean, why do so many more gay guys find me attractive than I think straight women? Are they smarter? I'm open to that. I'm open to that men being smarter than women.
Yeah.
In this particular situation, yes.
Yes. No, I think that gay men see the spectrum of masculinity a little bit more fully, and so because there's all these different subcultures in the gay world, there's always kind of like a home for you, right? And there's people who will just, like, you in the bear community would be like worshipped. You could walk into a bear bar and people would be like eyeing you, already wanting to talk to you, already wanting to fuck you, all that type of stuff.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then you could even go to like a place where there's a lot of twinks and you will find a few twinks who are like into Big Bubba type dudes, and they'll be hanging off of you, you know? I think that gay guys, I don't know, we love to get into the inner meats and the little crevices of the man. And
I think that does make that makes sense to me when
we
you talk
use
about
the whole animal, basically. Right?
Because I think about how I'm attracted to women, and I could see all the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
About, yes, I like this. You know, I always talk about what type of woman I like. And then Julia's not that type. She's obviously beautiful. I think objectively beautiful in a lot of ways.
She's classically beautiful.
Yes.
She's a Renaissance painting of a woman. Like she's like
she's not that fat, okay? I mean, you gotta watch.
Well, I don't know. No.
Well, now she's very fat.
Yeah, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's literally like what? Like the pinnacle of like Western beauty is what
I don't think that. Julia and I talk about that
like
all the time because I do think that Julia.
She looks like Venus. What are you talking about?
But it is hard to. We've talked. Me and Julia talk about this so much.
And I mean Venus Williams.
Yeah. No, we do talk about this all the time. I do think for some reason women find Julia particularly beautiful.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm telling you, they're hitting my DMs up all the time talking about how gorgeous she is. I can see she holds sway with women. Of course, I'm sure men find them attractive, but I think that women like the way she looks more, and I don't understand why.
I think a lot of men find Julia
attractive.
Yeah.
They're just, I guess, respectful. But she's told me before she's never gotten any, and don't send them now, but she's never gotten any dick pics. Not one. She doesn't. You don't feel like you get hit on in a particular way, Jules?
No, I mean I do, but not in a way. Maybe that's my projection of like what other women are experiencing, and I'm going, that's not what people do to me. But I do feel like there is a way that I like am not approached that other women, based on other women's expressed their experience. I go, oh, people aren't talking to me like that.
Okay, so what you said, if I don't know if the camera or the things are going to be able to. We've had the air conditioning on the whole time.
We have. Shit, I'm sorry.
I'm not hearing it in here.
Okay, so we're not going to edit this out, guys.
Whatever. It's fine.
Turn it off for the next segment.
And it's actually the air
No.
purifier.
Oh, it's the purifier? It's
Yeah.
not even keeping us cool?
No, but I think actually the air conditioner is on behind us, so it is keeping us cool.
This one's not.
That one's not on?
No, I'm like,
Just
I'm
the
not-
fucking purifiers on?
Just the fucking purifier? What the fuck?
I'm just saying if we're going to keep that
He's just saying over here. Oh my god, the fucking air purifier
I
over
don't
here.
mind doing it. We'll do it for the AC, for the air purifier.
This is what Steve is gonna be like as a dad. Like this kind of like, what the fuck, man? Like that's your.
Julia said, if you didn't hear, Julia said she, based on what her friends tell her, she doesn't feel like she's approached by men in a particular way. What do you think? You give a strong vibe off or something? Some kind of strength?
I don't know.
I've heard though that a lot of hot women say that men don't approach them many times because they feel like they're gonna get shot down. You know what I mean? I've heard that from people, and I've also heard that from like hot guys too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Well.
I think there's a broad spectrum of reasons why it could be. So I don't want to attribute it to any one thing.
Julia's
You're
also.
this, you're that, or whatever. It
Yeah.
can also be the spaces that I'm in, where I think that I've also been in spaces where I'm like attractive in one kind of way, but not necessarily attractive in the way that the space that I'm
I hope
in
this is picking. You're talking too long for this to not be getting picked up. Yeah. Yeah.
Julia's also around like comics a lot. That's the thing that she knows. You know what I'm saying? And I think in comedy, especially now, people are being very careful. You know what I mean?
That's what sucks about this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't harass people anymore.
Yeah, I am kind of bummed. This is one thing where I'm like, damn, man. I got into comedy. I thought you were supposed to get good at something, make money from it, and then so you could date 22-year-olds. And now that's not okay.
See, that's what makes you so not gay and so not a woman, because gays and women do not get into comedy to get laid. It just does not happen that way. Like we literally get into it for the gayest reasons. It's to like express ourselves. You know what I mean? But straight guys are like, I think I'm funny and I think that could help me get pussy. Like that's literally a huge part of it.
That's mostly why I do anything.
I know. Yeah. But see, we don't, I guess because gay guys and women, we don't need to do that.
Yes, because you guys get fucked anytime you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we are more attractive.
Well, I think expressing myself, that's a fine side thing, but that's not why I got into this.
Meanwhile, I'm dying inside because no one's letting me express myself.
No, I came into this to be Frank Sinatra dating an 18-year-old Mia Farrow.
and then you get to have like a weird like son that may or may not be your son.
I love him yelling. It's funny when you read when you watch the doc too. It's like he's just like yelling at her and like on a payphone, like making her cry, and then his friends are all, man, he really loves that broad.
They just toast.
Yeah, they're like, these dames, these stupid broads.
The rumor is that Frank Sinatra had a huge cock, not big, huge.
Yes.
That people said that he was all cock.
Yeah.
Because he was a little guy.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think about that?
I hope that's not the case. I just feel bad for the women he was with. And people think that who's Mia Farrow's son? Is that right?
Ronan Farrow looks a lot like Frank.
Yes.
But I think Ronan claims Woody which is like, he's between a rock and a hard place. Like, these are not good options.
A big hard place.
Yes.
All hard.
Yes.
Fat Italian cock.
Yeah. What do you think Woody Allen's cock is like? It could. I bet it could be really big, but maybe it's not.
You know, these little nerdy guys always have surprisingly big cocks sometimes.
But not always. One of the smallest cocks I've ever seen was on a small little Jewish man, very Woody Allen-ish, and it was like being fucked by a goblin. Oh, that was anti-Semitic, but I didn't mean that. I meant that he was.
He didn't mean the Harry Potter goblin, okay?
I meant him as an individual. He was goblin-like. Yeah.
What you don't care if a guy's got a small cock, or you don't?
It depends on how small.
Yeah.
It definitely does. If it's like in the 3 to 4 inch range, that's a bit too small for him to fuck me, but I can fuck him.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Oh yeah, you don't care.
No, yeah, the thing is I actually was hooking up probably about a year ago with this, or not even less than a year ago, with this kind of like Mexican American dude who most Mexican American dudes that I've been encountered with have some great dicks, but this guy, so handsome, but he had a very small cock, and he was not sexually versatile. He would not allow me to fuck him. He didn't like sucking dick. He didn't even really like kissing.
Yeah.
He just wanted to fuck or hump.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you don't listen. I feel like we need to start doing word problems in sex ed. If the booty is 7 inches deep,
yeah,
and you have 3.5 inches of dick,
yeah,
do you think you're gonna get a second date? Like that's the type of thing that we need to. He just didn't do that math. Like it's not gonna fit, dude.
Yeah,
it's not gonna fit. So let me do my thing on you. But he didn't want to. He like really wanted to be a top. He's like, yeah, I'm a top, and I'm like, you're not. But if he had embraced his bottomness, yeah, with his face, his handsome face, I was like, you could be ruling West Hollywood. Yeah. You could be burning tops left and right.
I don't. But he obviously has all this weird shit going on.
Yeah,
in his head, right?
It's like a masculine thing, you know, and he's very repressed, and he's like into politics and stuff like that.
It's these guys that just and I think it is obviously it's misogynistic. It's misogyny.
Yeah.
Because I feel like to take a cock, that there's power in that. Like not just the vulnerability, but you're kind of in control. You're giving all this pleasure. I do think that is as powerful as topping someone too.
Right, but people don't see that. Even the Greeks, and they were gay as fuck, they didn't see that. If you were a bottom, you were a woman, basically. Wow. You were just some bitch.
One time this guy, and it was funny because, no, I'm mixing this up. There was this little Chinese guy. This was like right when, I must have been 22 or 23 when I first started fucking guys. And he had, have you seen this? I'm sure you have.
What? Yeah, I've seen a lot.
He had a pencil dick.
Oh, like so thin?
So thin.
Yes.
Like truly like a pencil dick.
Yes, I've seen it.
And he like tried to fuck me, but it was like, it just like kind of hurt too much.
Yeah, it's like pointy. It's like
he
a pencil.
He was stabbing me with a pencil, yeah. So you have seen that. Has there ever been because of a dick?
Yes.
Where you've turned them away?
Years and years ago, like maybe 8 years ago, I went on a great date. A comic who we know set us up with this guy. You know what? I met this guy the night Trump was elected. So it wasn't as far back as 8 years ago. Yeah. And we just had this like great connection, and it was like very sexy.
And he was gay, out, everything.
Gay and out, yeah. And then we went up to his like apartment in the hills, and he was just like a really great guy. And then I saw his penis, and it was like a pen. It was so it was so thin. I'd never seen a penis that way. So much so when I got home, I like dug through my desk and I found a pen because I wanted to hold it to kind of like be like, no, it was that thin, and it really was. And
but you had sex with him?
I tried to, but he wouldn't take my dick because he wasn't used to bottoming, and so he wanted to top, and I was like, oh, like I don't know if this is gonna work. And then the weirdest thing, his mom is a doctor.
Yeah.
So he told me that sometimes when he has like weird things with his dick, because he had one of those foreskins that just wouldn't pull back.
Yeah.
He would like text his mom dick pics so that she could see if everything was okay. And he was a grown ass man. And he was like, it's okay. She's always like done checkups on me, even when I was into puberty. So she knows. And I'm like, your mom knows you have a pencil dick, dude. Like, I was like, but I didn't know what to say. So I was weirded out by the whole situation. And, you know, he texted me, he was like, I want to go out again. And of course I didn't say like, nah, pencil dick. I didn't say that. I just was like, hey, I just think that I'm not feeling the romance, you know, but I would like to be friends if you're open. And of course that did not happen.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks, but sometimes but I've also blocked guys who have dicks way too big.
Yeah.
I've guys who come in and they have a dick pic and it's like 10 inches. I'll just block them. That's crazy.
But you, at one point, you liked that, right?
No, I never did. I would always tell myself I did.
Yeah.
Like drinking Jaeger,
Yeah.
you know? And
well, I think that's a big part of life is you telling yourself, or like we've been telling ourselves certain things our whole lives, and you grow up and you're getting older and you're like, that's just not true.
The sex was always bad.
Yeah.
And I would always be bleeding.
Oh.
Once it was so hurt, I had to go to the urgent care.
Yeah.
Because of a guy's huge cock.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the sex was also bad because he can barely move because I'm like yelping in pain.
Yeah.
I think some pussies and some assholes are meant to take those dicks.
Yeah.
Mine isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oof. I just hate to think of my friend on all fours yelping.
Like a dog.
I really...
Yeah. That's exactly how I did it, Steve.
You said yelping.
Yeah. Yeah, and some guys, and what's weird is I've noticed some of the guys with the not big monster dicks.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the monster ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're, I guess, so impatient because no one can take their dick.
Yeah.
They don't, or maybe they think that because they have such a monster dick, they don't need to do anything else. I'm like, you have to do everything else twice as long.
Yeah.
You have to eat out twice as long.
Yeah.
You have to if you're having sex with a woman, you have to fondle her and rub her clit twice as long. You have to do all that twice as long.
Yeah.
You need to get them ready because your thing can kill people.
Yeah. Dang, I'm gonna have to get like hard at some point. I'm gonna have to show you my dick at some point. I want to see what you think.
I think at this point, since you're a father, it's fine.
No, I want to know what you think though.
Why do you want to do this? Comics have done this to me. Straight comics.
Yeah.
They'll come up to me in green rooms
Yeah.
and show me pictures of their dicks, and they'll want a review. And it's like, you can show me, but don't ask me to review it.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
You want to hurt you're not gonna have sex with me anyway.
I don't. Just, you know what? You can show it to me, but don't ask me to review. I don't want to review it. I want to see it like a movie and then think about it hours later and think what I thought. Like, you know?
Did you know on OnlyFans that they have, that's like a big part of OnlyFans is a dick review?
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah. I don't know. Why would any guy want to even show this?
It's because they want to be cucked, or they have such an amazing dick they really want to show it off. You know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's the cucks and the show offs. You know,
I have jokes about this, but I believe I am 5.5 inches strong.
Yeah.
I joke about it all the time. I have jokes about this.
Oh, I've had good sex with guys with 5.5 inches.
I'm not ashamed of the 5.5.
Yeah.
I have jokes about, it's a nice everyday dick. It's fine. It's good. It gets the job done. It's all that
everyday
stuff.
dick.
Yeah, it's a nice
the Bruce
everyday
Springsteen of dicks.
Yeah, no, he's exceptional. So don't say that.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm never. This is not the thing that I'm like trying to seduce women with.
Yeah, but most people aren't. But also, even some big dicks look fucking ugly. They're like gnarled.
Really?
Yeah, some of them are like. I mean, any dick could look gnarled.
Sure, but I guess I just haven't seen enough or thought about a.
Yeah, you're not that gay.
Yeah, but also I don't think pussies look that fucked up. It's always. I just think it's all nice and human.
I saw my friend's pussy once, Leah, at a bachelor party.
She's okay with you talking about
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it was so gorgeous and so beautiful. It was just like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, it was just like, I mean, she didn't splay it open.
Sure.
It was me and a bunch of women, and they dared her, and she like took it off, and then everyone was like, beautiful. Everyone was like, oh my God. Because it was
well, that's
gorgeous.
why she doesn't mind you talking about it.
Yeah, it was just like, I was like, she's just.
My friend Leah has a perfect pussy. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
I'm sure she's fine with that.
Yeah, maybe she's not, but whatever.
You know, whatever.
Yeah. I've said worse things to her, and she knows it.
That's one of John's old friends that you guys would get in big, huge fights every 6 months, right?
Yeah.
But now you grew up.
But we love it.
It must have been your fault, too, though.
No, we both have similar anger issues.
Oh, okay.
So, but did I maybe overreact?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I do worry about my anger issues. I do feel like I've gotten them very under control. Generally, having Julia be pregnant has been really, really good for that stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard. I still get mad sometimes, but generally, I'm just like, oh, I hope I can carry this with me, because every time if she like makes some kind of mistake or does something wrong, I always just go like, oh, she's pregnant. Like,
right.
You don't give her a hard time. And I hope that I can carry that after she has the kid and be like, oh, she's just a human. Human makes mistakes all the time.
I'm glad it took this long for you to realize that.
I mean, I'm always trying to work on it. I can't
Julia's
help it.
human.
I was abused as a child, you know?
What type of dad do you think you're going to be? What type of dad do you want to be?
Maybe I'm an idiot for saying this. I think I'm gonna be a great dad. I don't see how I couldn't be a great dad.
You're gonna be a fun ass dad.
Yeah. I'm wildly charismatic. We're gonna be joking. We're gonna talk it about.
Yes.
I'm glad I'm having a girl because it'll make me be sweeter to them.
Yeah.
If I was having a boy, I think I would be harder on them. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I guess I just worry about maybe snapping still a little bit, but you know, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm already using it in a way to like focus my professional goals and do all that stuff. Just like they said, when you're having a kid, it feels like, oh, now everything's real.
Yeah.
Now I can't fuck around anymore.
Why didn't you guys do like a fun gender reveal party that destroyed some property or something? Why didn't you guys do that? That seemed like your brand.
Well, I already did destroy my property when we got her pregnant, so you know.
Got it. Well, maybe your neighbor's properties, but that's yeah.
No, she just opened the envelope. We didn't give a crap. We knew we were gonna have a girl though too. Yeah. So I don't think. What do you think? What do you think my shortcomings might be as a father? That's a good question.
I think you are prone to moodiness.
Yeah.
I think you can be stubborn.
Sure.
I also think you can be a little bullish.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
These are all things that
you have to, with Steve, you have to check him sometimes. Like sometimes I do have to be like a straight up bitch to you in order for me to get my way, because otherwise you'll just bulldoze.
Yeah, I'm that's something I've been working on, that I'm aware of, that I actually like in friends and partners and stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do that, then I don't like to be that way. And if you don't fight back, then I will be that way.
Right. And
I don't like to be that way. Like I said, I think it helps in a lot of ways in life. It's good in leadership positions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if you read my chart, this is what Julia said.
Oh,
my
brother.
big goal, or the thing I need to do most in this lifetime, is in my big challenge according to my astrological chart.
Yes.
Is to learn to work with others.
Got it. Yes.
And so I feel that strongly. So I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
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 But you know, I think in our relationship, when me and Julia talk, generally, if she brings up she'll bring up points, I try to listen as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say like, oh, that makes sense, or something like that.
Yeah. You are. What I do like about you is you are prone to being like getting your mind changed if someone explains themselves. Like you'll be like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Even if you didn't agree with it, you'll be like, okay, I see how you got there or whatever. You know? Yeah. So
that, but all the things you brought up, I'm like, yeah, these are my life issues. But it is crazy too, because I want to be perfect for the kid,
right?
But I'm gonna get used to having the kid around, and then it's just me.
Look, here's the thing: we will. A kid is something that everyone who has a kid is going to fuck up their kid in some way. You just want to fuck up their kid the least amount, like shoes, right? Like you want to take care of it, have the least amount of scuffs.
Yeah.
But they're going to get fucked up. They just are.
Let me tell you something. My dad, I told you he was a printer. He made movie posters. He'd make preview posters. But he'd get them all early because they'd have to distribute them. So I'll never forget, there's a movie called Dark Man. That's like one of the first.
Is it about you?
It's about me in the summertime and working the fields. It's Dark. I forget who. It's not Ralph Fiennes, but it's the other. Who's in Schindler's List?
Liam Neeson.
It's Liam Neeson,
also known to be mega hung.
Yeah, yeah, for real. He's like in these wrap bandages. This fire's explosion or whatever, Dark Man, and he's in that movie. And my dad was like, "I'm gonna take you guys to go see that when it comes out. We're going opening weekend. We're so excited, so stoked." But I told you also, my dad works so much. So I'll never forget when we were supposed to go, he was too tired. And he just gave my older brother, Joey, he's like, "Joey, you take him." And he gave us money and said, you can buy candy and stuff. Here's some money. That was about 35 years ago. And I'm bringing it up now. So
that shit.
When you fail your kid, they will remember, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find me at Big Hern on Twitter, Hernia on Instagram. John?
You can find me at fatfaggot.com. You can find me at Jonathan Serteral on Instagram.
Jonathan and I are going to be at the Lake Arrowhead Brewery on Saturday, October 14th. It should be, these should drop by then, right? Oh, yeah. I hope so, yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, that was menacing.
And then Jonathan's going to be on Chatterbox Comedy Night on the 15th. And then I am headlining Chatterday Night on Saturday, October 21st. You've got to be there. Come visit me. I bartend Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.